A gourmet food renowned by the dark world upper crust. It has sensational flavor. How's it going, YouTube? This is Vengeful Shadows here, and hopefully everyone enjoyed that nice little test play we did. Alright, and we're going to be doing a deck list here today about a deck with sensational flavor. That's right, it's your boy, the Mad Lobster deck, alright? No, I'm just kidding. Today we're actually doing a Kairyu-Shin control, alright? And for anyone who's been keeping up with the meta, or cards that's going to be coming out into the TCG from the OCG, we have a lot of water support coming to us with the Mako Tsunami. Some people were mad that their boy from the Exceed Dimension got removed from the front page of that pack, but we got our boy Mako, and honestly, with the support in this pack, I can see why they made him the main debut character, okay? So without further ado, we're going to go into the deck and kind of explain what the build is like, and give a nice shout out mention to some of the cards that aren't in the deck as well, okay? And I guess the end board goal here, as you saw in the video, is we really like to have a Kairyu-Shin out there with the Red Eyes Dragoon, Yumi, and a Sea Stealth. It's kind of like the end board we like, and if we can get a Jellyfish in there too, that'd be pretty sweet, because Jellyfish in this build is insane. So we're going to go right into it and kind of start explaining the deck, and like what we run into it. Okay, so start off here, we have Vanillas, because Vanillas are super good in this build, so we run a Spiral Serpent as well as Mad Lobster, and the reason we chose these guys is because the small world really makes it happen, okay? So we main 3 of the Shin Leviathan, alright? And that is a level 5 water monster, Sea Serpent 2000 attack, so keep in mind with Legendary Ocean on board, this will become a level 4, so you're going to be able to normal summon it, okay? And while Yumi is on the field, each player can only control one face-up non-water monster, okay? And then just like goes in Rivalry, if you have a player that controls multiple, they have to send them to the graveyard until they only have one, okay? So that automatically is a super good effect, locking your opponent out of multiple monsters, so they can't synchro, they can't exceed, they can't even link unless they have all waters on the board, okay? Because they're only locked into one non-water. So just like in the show, they're locked to that single spot with that monster board, okay? And so just super cool how they incorporate that. Second effect is during your main phase, you can add a Yumi, a Kairyu-Shin Sparrow Trap, or one Sea Stealth Sparrow Trap from the deck to the hand, okay? And his ability is a hard once per turn, so even if you get multiples out there, you're still locked into once per turn with that, okay? So with that ability, he's going to be able to add you any of the Sea Stealth cards and any of the Yumi so if you don't have like a Yumi on board, you're going to be able to obtain the field spell. If you don't have any of his support cards, you're going to be able to grab those, or if you need some protection, you're going to be able to get the Sea Stealth attack. So already, it is basically, this is the boss monster of the deck. Once this is on the board, the opponent already has a really hard time dealing with it, and everything else is just kind of countermeasure to making them unable to remove this from the board as well. So we're going to go over, we got some Warrior of Atlantises as well, just so we can add those Legendary Oceans from the deck to the hand, okay? And then the new guy over here, we got Jellyfish. And keep in mind, guys, the kind of cool thing about this deck too is Kairyu-Shin, Jellyfish, and Doomkraken were all vanillas at one point. And so they basically just reincorporated the monsters with really nice effects. So it's just kind of cool how Konami's been going back and touching up old school cards. So I'm excited about that, and I kind of hope that like we see this happen a little bit more often. So, which I'm sure we will. So I think it's like Phasalia, and he's a water level 4 aqua. Okay, 14-17. You can send one Yumi from your hand, deck, or face up field to the graveyard, and you can special summon one monster from your hand. Okay, when your opponent activates a spell card effect or a monster effect while Yumi is on the field, you can quick effect negate it, okay, and then it gains 600 attack and defense, which is just a cherry on top, so it will immediately go up. Well, I would say 2000 is probably higher than that, because the Yumi boost or Legendary Ocean boost, so it'd be like a 2200 after one negate for a level 4 monster on the board, okay? So that's super cool. Phasalia combos really well with the deck. Overall, it's free negates, which actually protects, like I said, the Leviathan as well as the back row. And then a really nice combo in the deck that is, you summon the Jellyfish, you send a Yumi from the deck to the graveyard, or the Legendary Ocean from the deck to the graveyard. You special summon a Kairyu-Shin from your hand. So if you open up the Kairyu-Shin and the Jellyfish, use Jellyfish, pitch the Yumi from the deck, summon the Kairyu-Shin from the hand, use Kairyu-Shin to add a Sea Stealth from the deck to the hand, and then when you activate Sea Stealth, it activates Yumi from the graveyard. Okay, so with 2 cards, you will basically establish like a nice little water board. Okay, again, that's Jellyfish, yeah, like is a good starter with the Leviathan, and those are the 2 cards you want in the opening hand. So Jellyfish, super good. We love him. We got the Doom Kraken after that, and Doom Kraken super good. If Yumi is active, as a quick effect, you can target one of your water monsters and then target an opponent's monster, so he'll special summon himself from the hand. You return your water monster to your hand, and then if you do that, you destroy the opponent's monster. Okay, so that's super effective already. And then the second effect is if the opponent attacks, you can return this card to the hand and then you negate the attack, which also combos really well with Sea Stealth too, which we'll get into in a little bit. So Kraken, good one of. It's kind of like a nice little protective measure. I'm sure certain builds might tech him out for certain for like other things, but overall I think Doom Kraken is an effective water support card that they made for the archetype, and overall like I enjoy it greatly. And like I said, once you see some of the other combos with it, you're like, people are like, oh okay, I got you. We got Light Hex, Sealed Fusion, and Fallen Baz because we run the branded package. Okay, branded fusion, if you're not familiar with it, it's going to be probably the most broken card coming out to the TCG, because as always you get to fuse from the deck, and then all the branded monsters get to fuse basically from the grave. And then if you use things like Light Hex, Sealed Fusion, you get substitutions for your fusion, so the amount of fusions you can use is going to increase. And I think we're going to be seeing some cool plays with this when people realize that the Dogmatica stuff can send some offbeat fusion cards, and then they can use a fusion substitute and fuse from the graveyard and go into some pretty interesting stuff there, okay? But that's not this deck. So we also have ourselves some Ash Blossoms there, nice hand traps. Sea Stealth 2. While it's on the board, it becomes a Yumi while on board or in the grave. The opponent cannot target your water monsters with your water monsters with non-water monster effects. Okay, so that's super good. It definitely is good protection for your waters. At the start of the battle phase, you special summon Yumi or water non-effect monster in defense mode, but it is destroyed at the end of the battle phase, and you revive those from the graveyard. Okay, so some people would be like, oh, why are you going to revive it if it's just going to die? It can block for an attack, that's kind of cool. But even if it's during your battle phase, you can combo this pretty well, because if you revive a monster and you have Sea Stealth on the board, the normal Sea Stealth trap card, you can use its ability to banish that monster from play until the end phase, so the Sea Stealth 2 won't destroy it. Okay, and then also if they're getting ready to attack into you, you can bring back Kraken from the grave, and if they attack, Kraken will return itself to the hand. So just kind of cool combos you have with Sea Stealth. But the effect where your opponent cannot target water monsters you control with one non-water monster's effects is also just insane. I mean, that definitely comes in clutch when you're using Leviathan and then they only have one monster to remove it, and its effect can't even target it. Okay, so that's super good. One of the most insane cards coming out right now besides the boss monster itself is Fish Sonar. Okay, it's a normal spell card that lets you add one level 7 or lower monster that is a water normal monster, or specifically lets Yumi and its text from your deck to your hand. Then if Yumi is on the field, you can special summon one water normal monster from your deck. Okay, so we're seeing a trend with some of these where they work very well with water normal monsters, and it's really nice. So this essentially lets you add the Leviathan from the deck to the hand, or anything like the Jellyfish. So if you have Leviathan, you get yourself a Jellyfish, and we can go into that cool combo we talked about. Or you can add the Leviathan, and then if you have Yumi, you can special summon one of the Vanillas, and then if you need to, you can tribute it off. Or if we got Legendary Ocean, summon out Spiral Serpent, summon the Leviathan, and now you got yourself a pretty powerful board. Okay, so Fish Sonar easily at 3, and even if you run out of vanilla targets, you can still just get free ads. Okay, so card is really nice. One of the best fish cards or water cards we've had in quite some time. Okay, and I'm glad that the water support is going in the way of Legendary Ocean, because we had a lot of water support come out in some of the packs. We just had like the frogs get some support, we got the sharks, we got the marincesses, and now we're having the actual Yumi support, so that's really huge. Okay, Next card we're playing is Small World. I don't want to go too much into Small World because there's just like endless things you can go, but it definitely helps solidify the combo hand since this is a combo oriented deck. It's very important that we have certain pieces in our hand, and that is where Small World comes into clutch with a lot of those cards, okay? And that is the reason we chose the normal monsters we did, plus they taste good, you know? And a good combo we can do is like, you know, you can hit Ash to hit the Mad Lobster to get the Leviathan, or like you can hit the Mad Lobster to hit the Ash to like get yourself a Jellyfish or something. There's a lot of plays that can be done with Small World, like I said, that solidifies the combo hand in the combo oriented deck. 3 Legendary Ocean because they're best, Mystic Mine, we got a Terraforming over there, and then obviously Prosperities are insane. And the last card I want to cover, for the most part, besides Metaverses and the Judgments, is we got ourselves 3 Sea Stealth attack. We could potentially cut this down to 2. But overall, like, Sea Stealth is a super insane card that when it's activated, you can activate a Yuumi from your hand or graveyard. And then while Yuumi is active on the board, once per turn, you can banish a water monster you control until the end phase. And then if you do that, base up spell and traps you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, even if this card were to leave the board. So not only can you save your creature from potential destruction or something, like let's say that Regek and you want to banish the Leviathan off the board so it's till next turn, that's super cool, but it also protects your back row. So they activate Harpy's Feather Duster, hoping they can just wipe out all your water support. You can banish a water and save all of your creatures, okay? So that's going to be super big coming up here in the future. And then there's a lot of other effects it has, okay? The second effect to that is that the start of the damage step, if your water monster whose original level is 5 or higher battles an opponent's monster, you destroy that opponent's monster. Okay, and that's really key because Legendary Ocean drops some of our water monsters' levels, so that even if they're 5 or higher originally, like the Leviathan, it instantly destroys their monster that battles it. Okay, so it has protection around card effects as well as instantly saves your higher waters from in battle. Okay. So that is the bare bones version of the deck. I'm a very big fan of. It has been really controlling games and keeping a lot of the meta decks in check, especially things like Sword Soul that have to like focus on like certain ones of them are like the non-water ones, and this really helps against them, and like things like Bird Up. All right, and I wanted to give a notable mention real quick to Kairyu-Shin of the Reef. Okay, we did not end up having the actual like this being tested in our main deck. We ended up making a few versions of it with the Kairyu-Shin of the Reef, but they just weren't as consistent, and there were a few, like a lot of flop hands when we were testing that. So we were just wanting to bring forward this deck right here, and hopefully everyone enjoys this build because it is really oppressive and it's very consistent. And we didn't want to mess with the numbers in this build just to have a Kairyu-Shin kind of pop off once in a while, because it's a very good card. And it's a very good card, but just for this specific build, we just weren't playing it. But I just want to kind of give a shout out to this card because it's insane. We're going to make some builds with this card, and we're going to be showing them to everyone, okay? So this trap, real quick, normal trap, Kairyu-Shin of the Reef. It's a normal trap, so you can trap trick it out. Send one face-up Yuumi you control to the graveyard. Special summon up to 2 water normal monsters and or monsters that specifically list Yuumi in their text with different names from your hand and or deck in defense mode. Then if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon any number of level 6 or lower normal monsters from your hand or deck. Okay? And then until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except water monsters. Okay? So keep that in mind. So essentially you send a Yuumi from to the grave, and then you summon 2 different Yuumi monsters or vanilla monsters from the deck that are water, okay? Vanilla being non-effect. Then, after you summon those 2 monsters, if your opponent controls a monster, you can summon as many non-effect level 6 or lower water monsters you want from the deck, okay? So you can literally fill up your entire board with this card, okay? That's insane. That's really good, and that makes vanilla water really strong. So this isn't the build we had. That's not what we were running, but it's a card to definitely give a shout out. And then, so we'll go, side deck is pretty much going a second side deck, except for the Death Wombat, just because we played Mines. We got all sorts of no rulers, triple tactics, droplets, twisters, harpies, as well as evenlies, just in case we go second. And then the notable mentions right here in the extra deck are the Albion, because once you brand it, you go Albion into the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon by banishing the Light Hex Sealed and the Fallen of Albaz, okay? And it's cool, we can go into things like Kaliga. We got little things like the Invoke Cactius, because this card's actually super clutch in this build. It's a level 6 water, so that means it really helps with the sea stealth. And then on top of that, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and then this card can attack while in defense position with the attack applied as the attack. So 18, 29, 29 booty, so it's hard to destroy, instantly dies with sea stealth if you battle it, and basically unkillable aside from that. So Cactius is an amazing card for this deck that you can bring out with some of the Albion and like branded stuff. So keep that in mind. But overall, guys, hopefully you really enjoyed this video about this deck. I'm in love with it. Like I said, super oppressive, super consistent, and I'm looking forward to seeing this kind of hit the meta and how it might shift it. Okay, so, and guys, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and follow on the Twitch, on the Twitter, but most importantly, everyone have a wonderful evening. Okay, take care.